my desk for an hour, and then I'd walk him over to the program. People never even knew he was there. They all went to Kent. They had the fee waiver. That's such a blessing for all my children. The hardest thing, and I will warn you, as an advisor, not advising your children. And that was hard for them because they just wanted me to tell them what. And I said, no, you're in a degree that I'd always say, I know nothing about that. And so really, that was a struggle for me, like that FERPA and those rules, and go see, that advisor because you need to establish a relationship with them. So that was probably the hardest thing for me working with them. But I think just anything that's going on at the university, take them. Anything that's going on in the city, get them involved, and they love seeing where you're at. They love knowing my mom does this. They really, really do.
Yeah, I just want to ask you. One day you guys will all be supervisors. Have the ability to lead an office or a group, and so one of the things I hope you all do is allow those things to happen, because there can be times and places where people are, no kids here, like you have to be this age or whatever. And I'm not saying that those rules, wherever they may be, are not for a reason, because they are, and that's it. I know in my office and in my control, I'm very much about, you can bring your kids, your family, if you're cool with them, come on, let's do it. I mean, I've had staff members bring their children and I watch them. I mean, and carry them around. And like, he's just sitting in my lap and I'm typing on my computer. Like, I think that's how you can create a really good environment and really make sure that people feel like, because the work we do is so personal all the time, and we're in people's lives so much, when you can share that with your family or with others, show your family how, I think it makes it just a better place. Really change things.
That's a great point. And if I could add, I actually work with Daniel, I'm not sure if you know, but it is a relief. It's a sense of relief when your supervisor is comfortable with that, and it actually establishes a bond between the co-workers, us as co-workers, and we consider ourselves to be family, as a matter of fact. And so whenever one of our staff members are in need of something like that in regards to bringing their child to work, that's a joy for all of us. It's not just, you know what I mean? They may feel like, oh my gosh, this is a task for me. I remember those days, but it's a joy for all of us. And I just can appreciate that because it actually makes that connection, that work connection, a lot closer as well. So.
And as one of the staff members who has children, I'm also very aware. I don't want to be that person who can't do something on the weekend or fill that weekend spot because I have children, because that puts pressure on coworkers who don't have children, and then it creates a weird dynamic. So I really appreciate your point when you become supervisors or coworkers of people with children. It doesn't just benefit those individuals with children; it benefits the whole team because it allows for fairness, I guess is the best word you can think of, across the board. And most people don't mind when children come by to visit and get to see somebody's life from a different perspective.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I remember having cards. I wish I had kids. I just stay home with them.
No,
you don't. Believe me. So just be aware that when people have sick children, they need to be home. Is that what you're talking about?
Some work functions you had to do. Yeah.
Alright, so we have one more question, and then we're gonna go final thoughts, and then we'll open up for questions. So question 8 will be answered by Daniel and Michelle. What's one piece of advice that you would say to a new hired professional that holds a significant role in their family structure? How would you recommend that they transition into their new role?
For me, it has worked for me. I wasn't so good at it a long time ago, but I've been working on is trying really hard not to compare myself to other people who I feel like are like me or in similar situations, because the reality is they're not. daycare when they have to work, or, you know, things like that. So, and I don't have that. My in-laws and my family live too far away to be part of the child care role with my kids. And so, so that's really hard for me, and I find myself getting envious of people who have that. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is that's an example in my life, but the more I try not to compare myself to other people, and I think about it too with like houses and apartments and all along the way, like, oh, so-and-so has this really amazing apartment. I wish I had an apartment like that. And then now that we own a house, like, oh, so-and-so's got building a new house, and we have this old house that's just like crap and falling apart. You know, like that can be really consuming. And if you have the role I play, my husband is a pilot, and so he's gone a lot, and then he's home a lot too. So he does a lot of the cooking and cleaning, actually all of it. And I do most of the child rearing things. So we have a very interesting dynamic. But that also makes it harder for me to do things, and it would be great to have my therapist. So I guess just try not to compare yourself to other people who you think are like you, because they're probably not, and really trying to find those things that you have to hold on to really like say, wow, what I have is really awesome here, because it is. I mean, I have an awesome family, an awesome life. I have an awesome job, an awesome work family, and I know a lot of people don't have those things, and they want them. And so that would be my advice. Don't compare yourself.
I think one of the things that we all need to realize is that sometimes those roles shift and change. So sometimes you're the person that has to be, so for my personal experience, my wife's now ABD, but she's taking courses and working full time and et cetera. There's a lot of times where I'm the one that does cooking. I make sure the house is clean. I make sure that, you know, so when she comes home, there's food for her to eat, instead of her then come me wait and be like, you know, where you been? Right. If you know my wife, I'd get yelled at. You know, but I think too, also knowing that there's times when, as long as you communicate, you know that, hey, this can be a rough week. You know, we try to, you know, even though we work together, we don't always drive together here. So, because she'll have events late at night, I will have events late at night, and then I'm not staying here until 8 because she's teaching a class for undergrads. I'm going to go home and, you know, whatever. So I think being fluid and flexible, and then understanding that those roles will change. And there'll be times when maybe you're the breadwinner, and maybe times you're not. Maybe times you need to find a new job, or because your spouse's job is that much, well, we have to go there. So those things I think will always happen. You know, I never thought I was going to live in Ohio. You know, I'm from New York, and you know, New York. I mean, so, but my role has changed. And in the fall, when I'm starting doctoral work, it may shift because my wife won't have classes, so she'll be able to come home at we don't have a traditional time to go home. We work in higher ed. Very few of us can go home right at 5. You know, so that's something I would say. Just be really flexible and communicate. Try to best ask others who are doing it too. Maybe they are similar enough where it can help. Like, how'd you do it? You have a phone thing. You know, I did that when I was thinking about doing the doctoral degree. I didn't just be like, oh, I have to do it. I asked a lot of people for a couple of years, and now I'm ready to do it. So, and that goes, and so that shift is going to happen for all of you. Probably quicker and sooner than you think.
Can I add something to that? I kind of want to stress the importance of delegating things to other people as well, just because for me, being a single mom, I felt like it was all my responsibility. And so coming home and making sure dinner was cooked and making sure everyone has clothes to wear for the next week and things of that nature was always something that I wore heavily on my shoulders. And so as my children got older, I became really comfortable saying, hey, can you cook dinner tonight? And amazingly enough, my 14-year-old, he's been like a chef since he was like 4 years old. But by the age of 8, he could literally cook you a 3 or 4 course meal. And so, yeah, so it honestly, it's like he's really good at it, and he's doing, and he loves it. And so, and I remember, I think you mentioned laundry. That's something that you don't realize how helpful it is for someone to do something like that for you. And so even, you know, just making sure, hey, okay, now it's no longer my responsibility to do laundry. You guys can do your own laundry kind of a thing. And so just making sure to feel comfortable with delegating those duties to other people so that, you know, the way your family functions is more, it's more smooth than just kind of feeling like the whole burden is on you to do. And so I just wanted to make sure to add that because I know a lot of people just feel that way. They feel like, well, I have to do this or it's my responsibility to take care of it. There's really nothing wrong with delegating. It actually makes just everyone more happier. So
So we just wanted to do, if you guys, I know you kind of touched on final thoughts, but if you have final thoughts, and then we're gonna open it up for questions.
let me give a final thought real quick. I think that they both touched on it really well, but communication also is really important. At some point within the questions, I did write down or plan to talk about it, but communication on communicating. Let me back up. Talking to yourself, self-reflection, checking in, and saying, where am I? How do I feel? What's going on? I think it's really important because a lot of times we don't do that, and then things can also build up and stress and worry and all of those things. And so, and if you're not okay, then no one's okay. Like I don't know if you guys know about the saying that if mom's not okay, then there's nobody's okay. You know what I mean? And so you just want to make sure that you're okay first. And so checking in with yourself and seeing where you are and what you need to do to kind of help balance it out so that you're feeling better, or make sure to even take note of what's been working well so that you can continue using those things for the future, I think is important. And then another thing is communicating with your partner or your family members. I think that a lot of people kind of experience stress or undue stress just because they may forget to share with their partners or even their children what may be going on in their lives. And so it just making sure to communicate with people, I think helps out a great deal. And so I just kind of wanted to leave with that.
Michelle kind of touched on this too, and she and I went to a gratitude journaling class, and it is something that I started doing after I got divorced, and just mine was more like finding quotes that meant something to me. And now, as a rule, when I have students who send me a thank you note, something I hang on to all that. I have a file on happy student emails. And sometimes when you're having a bad day, I will go back and reread some of those. So just kind of focusing on the positive as much as you can.
ACTA boy, or you put girl, that's how you identify, whatever, but it's the same thing. It's notes and cards and pictures and stuff that kind of collect, and it's always nice when you can have to replace and get a new folder or have one because, you know, the other thing too is we don't often say thank you to our coworkers enough. We just kind of take it for granted that, well, this is your job, so you're supposed to do this. Like, but I think, you know, with gratitude and be able to thank people is really important. You know, and so really, it sounds like hopefully you guys just don't want to stay in higher ed. You know, guys, how am I going to do all this? You know, yeah, right, one step at a time. But I think that's important too. You know, and also thank your family members, thank your the people that are close to you and your supports and your rocks, and because that we don't do that enough in higher ed. It's weird. Student affairs, higher ed, we're supposed to be so personal, but we tend to only focus on one thing. It's usually someone else, and, but not always the people that are there fighting with you and all that. So go hug a coworker, or go tell them, hey, thank you for being you.
I think, again, going back to the tremendous resources we have here at university, we get to do training and professional development. We learn about how to communicate and this and that. And I'm not saying everybody here is in higher ed is a great communicator, but we have access to learn how to be better communicators, and that does translate into other parts of your life. I had a conversation with my mom recently, and I've always found it kind of hard to communicate with my mom about things, and she turned around and she was like, man, you just really I was delivering news to her, like I didn't appreciate something she said, and she was like, you just handled that in such a way that took care of my feelings, and I don't feel bad now, and thank you very much. I was like, oh, it's taken 37 years, finally it's all paid off. But same with partners too, I noticed, it's not easy to come together and live with someone, especially, I think I got married a little later than some people. I've been wearing all the hats for myself for so long that delegating, or not, that's not the right word, I guess, but for me, but like sharing those responsibilities was really challenging. And so learning how to use those communication skills that I've learned working with students has been great, and practicing. And I see him now, because he doesn't have access, he doesn't do any of that through his work, but seeing him kind of adopt some of my strategies is really cool too. So take advantage of what you do here and translate that into your family, for sure.
So, any questions? Anybody? You guys have so many questions.
I got one. So my girlfriend eventually wants to be a professor, wants to get a PhD in education, whatever they teach. It doesn't sound like anything to refer to professor, but can you speak to, I know you said your wife also works at Harvard. If you have any coworkers or anybody else that you've heard of, how that relationship works, having both people potentially work at the same university, but different halves of the university, or how that works with, finding a new job and things like that.
But I guess I can address that because I have a spouse that works at Penn State, and she is at a different college. Occasionally, like maybe once in a great while, we'll have a meeting together because our works overlap. But for the most part, we're not. And so one of the discussions we're having is she's doing her PhD. She'll finish probably by next December. Of course, I'm 5 years here now. Tape it. Well, whatever. 5 years. 5 years from now, from this fall, I'll be done. And then the conversation we're having now. Remember, we talked about planning. We're having that now. That's 5 years away. To say, well, what happens? Because there comes a point in all of our careers where you either have to move up or move out, right? Like you either get promoted or you go somewhere else, and that can be sometimes at the institution like that you've already worked at, or it's another institution. I've been at 5, and so we're having a conversation now to say, well, what would that look like? Because she's thinking about possibly going to faculty. She's currently, of course, in administration, like I am, and so. And I even thought, maybe I'll be 5 years thinking about faculty, and I'll have the credentials and experience to do so, especially in the higher ed program. At that point, I'm 19 years of experience, postmasters, and a doctorate, so I hope I can teach. And so I think what it does is there are things called trailing spouses, right? So some institutions will say you're interviewing for a job, and you say, oh, by the way, I have so-and-so. It happens at every level. It can be entry level, it can be, dean level. We had a dean search at an institution I was at that they wanted to come, but their wife, they wanted their female was coming. Their husband wanted to be a faculty member, but his discipline wasn't at the institution. And so she decided to turn it down. So those decisions you'll make, because hopefully you see each other's work as valuable and important, and that how do you make sure you both can have it? Now, of course, it might mean that you might need to move to a place where there's more institutions than not, right? A more populated area, you may not go to Montana State, you might not see some institutions for a while, so that, because then that will give you an opportunity maybe to be at a different institution. So I think those are the things you need to think about and trying to project where for her where's her career path possible? Right? Our career paths are not linear. None of them are. None of us could sit here and say we knew we were going to be in these positions when we started this thing. It's not true. I was in Res Life. People think, well, once you go to Res Life, you never leave. Res Lifer, right? 2 of us did it. So, and there's some people who are still, that's all they do. So I think that's one thing to think about long term. What is the projection? What areas, what skills do you need to learn to maybe make yourself more affordable at different levels? Because if you're focusing on just one thing, so that one institution, jobs, you guys know, because lots of you I know are in the jobs market now. Jobs don't always post up where you want them. You're like, oh, this job would be great if it was here. Right? This job would be awesome if it was near my family, or I can't live there. We even know that So that's how I'd answer that. And hopefully that was a little helpful. Yeah. Any other questions? What areas are you guys currently like focus areas, content areas?
I don't know that I would either.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm home down at the Seattle area, so I'll take academic advising, career advising, career counseling, and then I'll open up to like student activities, everything pretty much but admissions and res life. Like it kind of slowly just opens up because I'm so going back there for at least a couple years.
I have a former GA of mine who works at the University of Seattle, so he's a tennis coach, but he also did res life and advising, career advising. So I'll touch base with you.
Perfect.
You as well. I didn't do that until I was 30. Like I was like, I'm gonna stay here because all these things are so important. And like, when I was 30, I searched everywhere. It was so cool. It felt awesome to really open up. Not that because again, I did it myself. I was geographic in New York, but that's cool to be able to have that opportunity. It's probably a little scary. It was a little freaky for me. Yeah. You're like, oh my god, I can go live anywhere. And you're like, oh, where am I going to live? Like, okay, cool. Any other?
I got one, and I don't want to be taboo or anything, but I kind of got a question here. So being in res lifer, like I have been stuck to campus for so long. If I go to a new university and like I'm hoping the Seattle area, but I'll take other parts in Washington, there are some excluded colleges. I was wondering if seeing other people as they meet new like people within the university, is there any taboo and as you're a professional if you're dating, say, doctorate students, master's students that you come across? Does that make sense? I'm wondering if there's any taboo because I'm thinking who's around the same age in their mid-20s at a college if it's not a coworker, if there's any. Yeah.
So basically,
Throwing that out as a single guy. Just think about it, because like right now, in the halls.
Being single and higher ed or dating is
Note it.
You might need to just gauge the culture of your institution. But when I moved here at Kent in 2004, I was single, and it was when like online dating was taboo. You didn't talk about it because everyone was afraid you're gonna get chopped up into little pieces and put in the trunk of someone's car.
killer.
Yes. So, but I did, and I actually dated a few people at the university, PhD students, people, different roles, So, I mean, I think it just depends, and certainly, on your interactions with them. But I probably depends more on the culture of the institution.
Right.
I mean, that's the way it is anywhere.
If you just work hat, does my work influence this person in any way?
Yeah.
That and would there be any conflicts or perceived, special, treatment or anything like that? So I think you have to be mindful of that. The other is best you can. When you have off, especially if you're red light, leave. Like go somewhere and try to, because when you're 22, 23, 4, and the only people that are around you are 22, 23, or 19, people are, you can't always pick who you're going to fall for or be attracted to, but you can pick your behavior, how you behave in those situations. So I also would say this: make sure if it does get to a point where you think, try to be as honest as you can with your supervisor. Just so you have somebody to say, okay, cool, not to give blessing or anything, but just to be mindful, because if something does happen, you've already or somebody says, imagine somebody doesn't know that your boss knows and they come up to you like, do you know that? Yes, I'm aware, and we've already talked about that. So, hopefully, you're at a larger institution where you might be able to be with PhD or students that are maybe a little bit more appropriate by being as a guy, not a guy, knowing that if you tend to date people that are younger than you, if you're in higher ed, so be careful for the time being.
Totally fair. I mean, I'm going to be 26 going into it, so I'm looking for more like master's, doctor, but I didn't know if there was any nuance from the professional side that you don't necessarily hear about as a master's student currently.
No, because I'm married to somebody who works on campus, and I had lunch with her, and will I hold her hand or give her a kiss on campus? Yeah. I also don't care if anybody says anything about it, but I think there's really how to be conform and make sure you're appropriate. We go to a meeting, I'm not holding her hand. I honestly don't even sit next to her. Because I don't. Right? So I think there's things like that.
Yeah.
We're a flexible field, but we also have people who don't think of higher ed and student affairs like we do. They think of more business, right? Like, because there's people on campus that are like, I work 9 to 5, it's just a job, and you have 15 minutes. I mean, I don't know how people do that. That's not how I roll. And so it's always something to think about. Especially when you spend 50, 60 hours a week at one place, you start to get pretty personal. Cool.
Well, thank you so much for being part of our panel today, and thank you for coming. It's been educational for you guys.
Well, thank you guys. If you guys want a business card, I have mine. You don't have to take it. I don't want to go grab it. Thank you all for having us.
Thank you so much.